imagine and construct their own characters? How would you like to spend countless hours designing and sculpting with clay? How would you like to see your own creations come to life through film? Today's guest will talk about these and other unique experiences he has encountered while on his journey to becoming a new special effects artist and filmmaker. The Humanities Mass Communications Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now join our host, Matthew Hennessy, to meet the next new director.
No, it's not like the alcohol. People say that a lot. Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All the people involved in this program are students in the television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, operating cameras, and acting as talent for the first time today. The guests you will meet on this show are students who, when not on camera, are here behind the scenes, working hard to bring you the program to you with as few mistakes as possible. Each student has written and directed 4 different productions. This program will give them the chance to talk about themselves and the productions they've created. I give you the chance to get to know them and for the work that they did during the semester. Our guest today is a aspiring special effects artist and filmmaker who has begun making all sorts of aliens and creatures in his low budget short films. We'd like you to meet our guest today, William.
Hi.
Hi. All right, so we know that you are interested in, who are talented artists and are interested in films. Tell us why you got in this particular field.
Well, ever since I was a kid, I got really into like monster movies, stuff like that. Anything that featured like an alien or some kind of dinosaur, stuff like that. That was always piqued my interest. So I was always interested in like how did these filmmakers actually create these things that can't exist in real life, especially back when they didn't have computers. So what they did is they had to physically make things. Movies like Jurassic Park, The Thing, Godzilla, stuff like that. They always had to, they didn't have technology to rely on the same way we do now. And so I always hoped one day that maybe I could do that. But I didn't really know how. How could I do these things without the proper skills and knowledge? But then one day in high school, in my sculpture class, we had the opportunity to make a mask like they do in the movies. And that was a real huge eye-opener for me. And at the same time, I had a film class, and so I just kind of took those two things together, and I made a mask in my sculpture class, and then I used that mask for a short film that I came up with. And ever since then, I've been really into that, and I want to continue doing that more and more. So I learned it so that I could go home and do it by myself. So let's go through some of the steps and show off some of the things that I've made. So the first step is that you're going to make a concept art. These are a couple of the characters I made. This one's currently in the process right now. He's like an alien character. This one's going to be my first full body suit. It's going to be like this demonic, extra-dimensional creature. The second step is you're going to want to start sculpting with clay, which is a lot of fun, getting all these textures.
Oh, that's really cool.
Thank you very much. It's like a claw hand. It's like a chest piece with all these scales. And that's that demonic creature in the drawing. Then the third step is you're going to cover that sculpture with plaster. And the plaster is going to harden, and you're going to pull that off, and you're going to pull the clay out of the plaster, and you're going to have this impression in the plaster from the clay of what you sculpted. Then you're going to pour latex into that and pull that out, and that's where you have your mask. So then after that, you can just start painting. I use an airbrush. This is probably my favorite part of the process because this is really when you start seeing things come together and come to life. And like that's just the process here of like, finishing the suit. And all these characters hopefully at some point will be in a short film that me and my friends come up with. This is actually my first mask that I made back in high school, the one I mentioned before. He's this like demon with like hands over his mouth, and blast from the past here. This is from senior year, the short film that I made for my class. Yeah, so it was a lot of hard work, but the creature only ended up being in it for like a couple minutes, but it still came out pretty well. Yeah.
That was really great. I mean, like, I know who to go to if I want to win a costume party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
All right, so please tell us why you decided to take the TV production course here at NCC.
So, as you can tell, I've been interested in this subject, but on my own, there really isn't that much that I can do to improve. There's only so many movies you can just watch by yourself and go, hey, I like that idea, let me use that. At some point, you need somebody who actually knows what they're talking about to step in and actually guide you through it, tell you about the behind-the-scenes stuff. I wanted to make sure that my composition and framing would get better. I wanted to learn how to edit better with a professional software, and I wanted to learn how to use all sorts of camera tricks and things like that. Hopefully, I was hoping that I could pick that up in this course, and yeah. So I really wanted to learn that as much as possible if I decide to make this my career.
That's good. Can you tell us one of the most useful things that you've learned throughout your semester in this course?
Mm-hmm. So learning how to operate a pretty decent camera was really cool. Going through the features, learning how to use the spot focus and the brightness adjustments. Things like that were very important to learn. Also, using the Avid editing software was completely new to me. Like, I had used some editing stuff before, but never anything on that level. So that was a big step up. And then it was also the first time I ever had to storyboard and actually write a script. So those are all huge, important things that we were able to do here. As well as the live TV production that we've been doing. I've learned how to run a teleprompter, do audio mixing, be the technical director, the actual director, and it was really daunting. It was, up my anxiety a little bit, but actually being able to do it, I think I've done a pretty decent job, and it's been good, especially on a teamwork level. This project has made us really understand the importance of teamwork in the TV production course.
That's great. So tell us about the Cup of Tea project, the student studies, the fall foliage, and the orange project that you worked on.
Well, first, let's take a look at Cup of Tea.
All right.
So this was the first time I ever used a storyboard, which was really helpful for when you're actually going and shooting. Like, you know exactly what it is you want, instead of just like showing up and trying to figure it out on the spot. Same thing with the camera diagram, the exact placements of where things are going to go, and using a shot sheet, which made editing later a lot easier. For student studies, it was kind of really reinforcing those same things that we learned for Cup of Tea. You could actually see a little cameo of one of my costumes in the background. I was too lazy to move out of the way. This was the first time using a script. It wasn't my own script, so it was interesting to have to follow these very specific rules, which I know is something they do in movies where sometimes the director isn't able to do everything. They have somebody else go and film based off of the script.
Yeah.
This is the nature project. So this is when I really started using the 6 guidelines for like good composition. I also, just to have a little bit of fun, I decided to add a little bit of a narrative to it. I shoved in one of my creature characters who like stalks and kills some dude and that's walking around in the woods. I thought it'd be a little bit more fun that way. And there's a lot of juxtaposition between like beautiful scenery and then like horrible gory images. And then my orange project. This is the first time actually writing my own script, which was really interesting because there was no dialogue for this story. So making a story that is shown fully through just visuals was an interesting task, and I had a lot of close-ups and fast-paced editing. Yeah. So of course I had to make it about a orange who goes on like a vengeful killing spree.
Wow. Yeah, in the woods for the nature project. I know not to go in those woods.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go.
All right, so please tell us about the. So out of your 4 projects, there must be at least one that either you had a really good time doing, or one that really showed off your skills. So please tell us about which one you enjoy doing the most.
So it was definitely the orange project. So this was one where even though it was a very oddly specific assignment to have a story about an orange, I still had the most creative freedom. And like me and my friend just had a weekend free, so we just we made this really ridiculous film about an orange beating somebody up. And we had a lot of fun with that. I had a lot of fun editing it on Avid.
I'm afraid to eat an orange now.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if orange juice will kill me too.
Yeah, I'll take the scurvy, right? So,
you know what I call that? I call that Monday.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, writing the script was really interesting, and doing the storyboard for this. Yeah, and adding this is also the first time using Foley sounds. Like none of the sounds you're hearing is actually from what was recorded.
So you made your own sound effects for it?
Yes. We used other sound effects to splice them in there.
That's great. So you mentioned a variety of things you learned. What's the most important thing that you learned, and how would you use those skills or refine skills for the future?
So I'd say the most important things were like storyboarding. I'm into comic book stuff. I'm an artist, and I never really thought of, hey, what if I just did that first before shooting? It makes things so much easier, and it's a good way to like put it on paper what you want, what your ideas are. You could show it to people before you actually start doing it. Script writing, same thing. I haven't, like I said, I'm an artist, not a writer, but this was really fun and challenging to actually write something out myself. It's like a written version of the storyboard, and and then composition. I always wanted to make my characters look more interesting, and you always want to find new ways of presenting characters, and actually learning rule of thirds, stuff like that, makes images so much more compelling for the audience to look at. I don't want things to look like flat anymore in my pieces. So I can't wait to see how much better my projects will be after what I learned in this course.
That's great. And call me over next time you do another film. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure thing.
So you get to meet someone who shared with us his passion about costume making. As a TV director, he hopes to apply what he has learned here at NCC to effectively film the creatures he's created. He also plans to use his new knowledge from TV One to create exciting horror and sci-fi short films in the future. We would like to thank William Kish for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed meeting one of television's featured directors, and we hope you'll continue to join us each week to watch our progress. Thank you. You have a good day.
This has been The New Directors with your host, Matthew Hennessy. Directed by Erica Pryor.
A lot of work.
I'm your announcer, Renzo Pablo.
This costume is made.
The New Directors is a Nora Community College student production.